I love living minimally. I love raising my son in a minimal household. When I live minimally, I am choosing each day to live lighter, and that's emotionally, that's physically, just overall. Anyone can declutter, but underconsumption is an art in itself. Even sometimes I struggle with as an extreme minimalist. I'm recently watching The Mandalorian on Disney for the first time, and continuously throughout the series they say, "This is the way." And I want to say that so bad so many times, and I'm going to think of it so many times making this video. I already know. So if you catch me saying it, that's why, because I have it in the back of my head accidentally. Minimalism is the way. I learned to sew a very long time ago, and I'm not the best, but this sincerely helps me throughout the year not have to buy anything new. For example, it's kind of dirty, but I just sewed this tore apart. And again, I'm not the greatest, so you can see the stitching on the inside. You can see where I cut it, but it saved me $50 from having to buy a new bag. And it's not even just about the money. It's about the fact that this is still, it still works. It still is really good condition from when I bought it, even though it's a little dirty. So if it works and it still looks good, even though it was broken, I fixed it by sewing. And here's my little travel. I didn't use like an actual, what are they called? Sewing machines. I didn't use the sewing machine. I just had this little travel thing. I'll even show it to you. Basic thread and needle stuff. I did buy extra thread because it's a little bit, I like this one, it's a little firmer, so that I have both options between firm and soft for certain types of clothing. But yeah, it keeps me from having to buy new clothes, all this stuff. So learn how to sew, or if I can't sew it because I'm not that great, I will bring it to a tailor. $60 pants suddenly can be fixed with a $15 tailor run. And obviously with more practice, the better you get. Number 2, I would say if you don't know your skin that well, go see a dermatologist. Spend the money to not spend the money. Because if you're doing trial and error every year with new products that are coming out, and one person says to try this, another person says to try this, you're going through so much money, probably more money than it would be just to take one appointment to the dermatologist. Or if you don't want to do that, at least go just figure out your own skin, because it will save you so much time and money. And I don't have the most perfect skin. I have a lot of flaws, right? But I'm no longer buying like 10 face creams, new a year. I'm no longer trying the newest trend with this, all these different products. No, instead I keep it very simple when it comes to the ingredients, and this way I can track what's in items. I'm less likely to have a breakout. I'm less likely to have a reaction from that. So my routine is very simple. It is wash my face twice with whatever works for you, whether that be gel, oil, and then moisturizer. And in between, everyone's skin is different. So you will have a particular serum to target whatever you have going on, because not everyone is alike. Just because she has niacinamide serum, she has extra vitamin C serum, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So I would say stop the trial and error. Know your skin type. For me, I have a lot of acne scars, and hyperpigmentation. So I use niacinamide. So that's my serum. And then every other night or so, I'll do like a retinol. And that's it. I also like oil, but again, I think that falls under the serum line. So keep it simple. I am at the point now when it comes to, call it lazy, call it whatever you will, I lately am just not in the mood for putting on pants. I'm not about it right now. So I take this a bit extreme lately, where I'm in this mood of just like putting on dresses and I'm done. You just put it on, you zip it up, I'm done. Everything in my home has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. You can say, oh, decor has a purpose because it brings me joy. You could say, whatever you want to build your own home and build your own life. But to have something in my home and be like, why do I even have that? it wouldn't exist for me. It's gone. So I keep everything as simple as possible. I'm not gonna buy 3 different shades of lipsticks and sometimes once a year wear one, or sometimes I'm gonna know what colors I want. I'm gonna know what colors that work with me, and I'm gonna go around that. I'm not gonna buy a color just because someone else is wearing the same color. That's not gonna happen. So I keep everything very, very simple. And by doing this, I'm less likely to build up trinkets and gadgets and whatnots, all of the things that have no purpose, that literally just sit there and don't do anything. So. Another good example of keeping it simple is having a bunch of TV subscriptions or entertainment subscriptions. I will only have one going at a time. I'm not gonna have a bunch of them at a time. So I keep it, like I said, as simple as possible. There is a big difference between wanting to glow up to improve yourself and buying just because you saw someone wearing the same, it's hot pink or whatever color dress. When you already look good, feeling FOMO because there's a new item out can actually hinder how good you look, if that makes sense. I have done this where in the past, I wanted to cut my hair a certain style, or I wanted to start wearing bright colors or colors that were not on my seasonal palette just because someone else was wearing it. And I thought to myself, well, it's my life. I want to try this. Looking back at those photos, I am appalled. I don't want to look at them because I can't believe I even tried that. These are those moments in our lives when you make it a point to own less items. You will start to notice how much or how little we actually need. If you haven't used an item or touched an item in the last 3 months, cut it. If it is a holiday item, obviously these are special, so it is the exception. If you used an item once and never touched it again, it served its purpose. You used it, so that's good. Just let it go. Some of us don't want to get rid of items because we think, well, someday I might such and such. That day will never come, because if it hasn't already come, it's not gonna come. Why would I need to keep the manual for everything in my home, right? These are just tiny examples, but it all builds up to clutter and just stuff and energy that just sits in our house and it can help to make us feel more overwhelmed. Also clothes, I find clothes are a bit more difficult with this because you have seasonal items, and I understand that's more difficult to work with. I always stick, when it comes to downsizing clothes, your seasonal color palette, and also can you mix and match with the rest of the items in your wardrobe. For example, this top can go under many of my dresses. I suggest, number 6, switch to buying only online. I do this for everything that I possibly can. I am less likely to buy more items because I don't have the impulse to buy items that are in front of me when I am online. Yes, I'll browse. Sometimes I'll search a little longer than I probably need to because I see something, I'm like, oh, that's cute. But then at the end of the day, I'm not gonna buy it anyway. I'm just gonna browse. Whereas when I'm in store, I'm more likely to buy it because I see it on me, or I'll be there in the moment. I don't have my list in front of me. I don't have my home setting. So when I'm shopping online, I'm only going to get the items that I need. If you're ever out with friends and they want to stop at a store or whatever, I personally, when I'm in this situation, I'll just say, oh, I'm not in the mood for that vibe right now. I'm not feeling it. And however they want to take that, I'm okay with that. Like, if they take that as I'm cheap or I don't want to spend money, that's on them. Like, that's their own thought process that they can go through. If it's like an errand that they have to run and that's different, then they'll just like run in and out. But they shouldn't have to actually They shouldn't care so much that you don't want to go into a store with them, is what I'm saying. I've trained myself to have an immediate reaction when an ad comes on, to swipe, to skip, to block it out. It's like white noise to me. I don't hear it. So if an ad came on and someone asked me like, hey, what was that ad about? I could be staring right at it, and I probably would, unless it's that new Temu song that's out. I mean, I won't at all remember what it's for. If I don't know them, if they're not an influencer that I've been following for a long time that has already earned their keep with my trust, they've already earned my trust by providing enough information to help me personally. If someone is going to beg me for money for a company, then immediate swipe. I understand a lot of people out there make ads, entrepreneurs, where they are genuinely trying to help people. But I personally have not seen it on my end. I don't know who you are. So it's an immediate no to me. I say this, let the influencers, let these people who run these ads, let them earn your money. And this takes time. So if in the moment an ad comes up for, oh, take this course to be this best Amazon seller and yada yada, it's like immediate skip for me. And it should be for you too, because I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but the mentality, the habit of having people earn your trust so that you can spend more time with them, so that you can spend your money on them, is just a really good habit to have in life, not just with influencers. It's not about give and take so much as it's about an equal balance to life. So if they are providing you with information that has changed your life, I would say, yeah, absolutely feel inclined to buy their book, right? Or, go for their course if you actually have already seen your life change in some way from their information that they're giving you. Absolutely. It reminds me of my grandfather, this just really angry old French guy who, growing up, every time his phone would ring, he'd answer going, "What do you want?" Like this, because he was just a grumpy old guy. And I have that now. I have that mentality where every time my phone rings, I'm like, oh, who wants my money now? Because this is the world, unfortunately, this is the world we live in. If it's not my child's school, if it has nothing to do with my kid, or sometimes it does have stuff to do with my kid, it's like, who wants my money? Because why else would you be calling me? Usually friends text at this point, right? And even now I get ad texts. I get ad texts from companies. So it's like, okay. Number 8, a huge way to make sure you spend less money each year or buy less items is to keep it consistent with your beauty routine, because most of the influencers out there, most of the products that are being produced are for beauty products. They're usually like, everything I've probably already mentioned in this video, like clothes, stuff like that. But if you keep it consistent with your beauty routine, such as skincare, such as nail care or hair care, you would be less likely to hit these dips where if you're exercising on a certain routine, not just going all at it for a month, then stopping for 2 months and going back at it, because these dips where we stop our routines, this is where our insecurities come in, because we think to ourselves, oh, I need to go to the gym, or I need to get my hair dyed back and stuff like that. And then other ads and other influencers and other products will catch our eye outside of our normal routine, when the normal routine was already working. These dips are where we probably buy the most. And if we keep our routine consistent within the realm of A, our budget, or B, our time when it comes to exercise, keep it realistic, then we're less likely to spend money throughout the year. We're less likely to stock up on items. So a great example, when you exercise. So when you exercise, sometimes you probably hit 1 month strong and then 2 months dip where you don't go to the gym, and then all of a sudden there's like this protein shake that just came out, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna buy that, I'm gonna go back to the gym. Maybe just keep it small, but keep it regular. And so this way you won't hit those dips, or you're less likely to. And the same with hair. So I understand that a lot of us will and I've done it where I've dyed and highlighted my hair, and then I had this dip where the grow out period, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm gonna try this anyway, and then next thing you know, all my hair came off, right? Whereas I could just keep using the gloss that I always use, have used for years, and there was no problem. There was no problem. There was a time when I went through a zero waste phase where I tried really hard to be zero waste, and it's extremely difficult. The tips are so helpful when it comes to underconsumption, because zero wasters, the whole concept of it is obviously leave nothing behind, which means you're not taking anything in. You're less likely to take things in. So I love so much zero waste tips. I'll even now sometimes, even though I'm not a zero waste person, but I will sometimes still go through my social media and specifically search zero waste tips. For number 10, I would say have a good idea for a goal for the amount of items that you want to own generally. I know this is a video about underconsumption, but this will help you. So, for example, I personally use my luggage for a goal that everything can fit into my luggage minus furniture. Then we've hit that goal and I will not buy anything more. If you want to own, let's say, 4 pairs of jeans, if you want to own 3 pairs of each article of clothing, then if you see a dress that you want, as an example, or a top, then you will not buy that dress or top because whatever you have already looks really good on you. And if you do buy that dress or top, then you would have to remove something you already own. And let's say you love the items you already own. That's just one example. It's not boring to create these rules for ourselves if it means having the outcome of being less overwhelmed and more money in our pockets. Underconsumption doesn't mean you have to be an extreme minimalist. It just means simply not giving in to so many opportunities to spend money or to bring in more items than we need. We live in a world where you have to subscribe to almost everything now. In order to not see an ad, you have to pay a certain amount of money. In order to have anything, have services in your car, have music, have anything at all, you have to pay a subscription for. Even our own health, our health insurance is technically a subscription to not have to pay a certain amount, so you pay a certain amount. Like it's a world of everyone's taking my money, and I say no. I say I'm gonna pay as little as possible. So at the end of the day, I don't need 10 new face creams. I don't need to switch my routine if it's working just to appease this new vitamin in my schedule. It's just ridiculous. In my opinion, less is better. By choosing to live lighter, I am less overwhelmed. I spend less money. I have more time for my family and for myself, for my business to grow. I have an abundance, and I am definitely pro the underconsumption movement.